In a small, ramshackle farm nestled in the wild west of the 1800s, a widow named Mary worked tirelessly to provide for her 3 young children. The sun rose each day over the dusty plains, casting long shadows on the barn that stood at the center of their modest homestead. Though life was often harsh, with endless chores and unpredictable weather, Mary found joy in the laughter of her son, Thomas, who was 8, his sister Lily, 7, and their little sister, Rose, just 3. Each day demanded much from Mary. She woke before dawn to feed the chickens and gather eggs while ensuring her children were dressed and ready for whatever awaited them. The adobe walls of their home felt thin during storms, and every rumble of thunder stirred worry in Mary's heart. With winter approaching and blizzards looming, she knew this season could be especially tough for her family. Together with her children, Mary tended to their garden and collected wood for warmth. But as cold winds began to howl across the plains, she felt a stirring fear creep into her thoughts. She wanted to shield her children from the fierce storms that could sweep through their lives without warning. One evening as they sat around the flickering firelight inside their small cabin, Mary made a quiet promise: she would find a way to keep them safe from winter's wrath. As her children drifted off to sleep that night dreaming of adventures under blue skies, Mary began to plan something remarkable: a secret underground bedroom beneath their barn where they would take refuge when the blizzards came howling through. As the days grew colder, dark clouds loomed over the horizon, and the townsfolk began to talk of an incoming blizzard. Mary listened intently to their warnings while she prepared meals on the crackling stove. Each mention of the storm sent a shiver down her spine, as the thought of the fierce wind and heavy snow filled her with dread. She could already picture the icy gusts swirling around their small home, rattling the thin walls and howling like a pack of wolves. One afternoon, as Mary gathered wood for the fire, she looked out across the barren fields. The tree swayed violently, and the sky transformed into a gray blanket, signaling that trouble was near. The children played nearby, their spirits high as they built a makeshift fort in the yard. But Mary's heart was heavy with worry. "I need to keep them safe," she muttered quietly to herself. That evening, she sat beside her children as they laughed and shared stories about brave cowboys and colorful adventures in far-off places. She smiled, trying to hold on to this moment of joy even as her mind raced. "We must be ready," she thought, envisioning their secret refuge beneath the barn. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of purple and deep orange, Mary's heart sank when she felt the first bite of freezing air slip through the cracks of their home. "Tonight will be different," she whispered as she tucked her children into bed. With a sense of urgency, she gathered her tools, knowing that time was running out before the storm would strike. Mary sat on a wooden stool and stared at the barn, its sturdy walls standing tall against the chilling winds. She could almost hear the storm whispering its threats as the first snowflakes began to drift from the sky. The thought of her children trapped in their small cabin, vulnerable to the raging elements, filled her with determination. "I must protect them," she thought resolutely. After much consideration, Mary decided that an underground shelter beneath the barn would be their safest refuge. It would be hidden, warm, and safe from the harsh winds that could howl like a wild beast outside. The barn was already a sturdy structure, and with its heavy wooden beams overhead, it seemed like the perfect place for her plan. The next morning, as the clouds gathered and the air turned frigid, Mary gathered her tools, a shovel, some sturdy twine, and a few extra pieces of wood for support. She knew she had to work quickly before the snow began to pile up. With each scoop of dirt, she felt more hopeful. The little room would be cozy, just big enough for her 3 children to play and sleep snugly. As she dug deeper, she imagined their laughter echoing in the underground space and how they would feel safe and warm together. Once the hole was large enough, she began to reinforce the walls with wood planks she had salvaged. "This will keep us safe," she murmured, feeling a sense of pride swell in her heart. No matter how fierce the storm outside would be, she was determined that inside this hidden shelter, her children would be shielded from winter's fury. Mary stood inside the barn, scanning the space for the perfect spot to dig their underground shelter. She wanted it to be hidden yet accessible, away from the barn's entrance where snow could pile up and block them in. After considering several locations, she finally decided on a corner near the back of the barn. It was shielded by thick walls and heavy wooden beams, providing an extra layer of protection from the elements. As she examined the ground, she visualized how to make the most of the small area. I need it to be big enough for all three of them, she thought, picturing her children nestled together in warmth. She decided on a space that would be approximately 6 feet long and 4 feet wide, plenty of room for their small bodies to sleep and play comfortably. Next, Mary mentally mapped out how she would reinforce the shelter. She planned to use wooden planks from old crates for support, ensuring the walls would be strong enough to withstand the pressure of the earth above. It has to be safe, she reminded herself repeatedly, knowing that her children's lives depended on her careful planning. With her location set and plans forming in her mind, Mary gathered her tools again. She felt a rush of determination as she thought about how snug and secure they would be once the shelter was complete. It would not only protect them from the storm but also become a special place where they could share stories and laughter even in the darkest of winters. As she knelt down to start digging, hope blossomed within her heart, fueling her resolve to create a safe haven for her family. Mary knew that gathering the right tools and supplies was crucial to her plan. As she stepped out of the barn, determination coursed through her veins. She had to work quickly, so she made a list in her mind of everything she needed: a strong shovel, wooden planks for support, and sturdy twine to hold it all together. She first made her way to the old shed at the edge of their property. The door creaked ominously as she pushed it open, revealing an assortment of weathered tools. In the dim light, she spotted a shovel with a wooden handle that looked strong enough for her task. Grabbing it, she felt a surge of hope, thinking about how this simple tool would help create a safe haven for her children. Next, she rummaged through some old crates stacked in a corner. "These will do nicely," she murmured, pulling out several planks of wood, some long and others shorter. Each piece had seen better days, but they were solid enough for reinforcement. Carefully placing them under her arm, she felt the weight of responsibility but also the strength that came from knowing she was doing this for her family. Finally, she gathered some twine that had been left behind after last season's repairs. It was tough and rough but perfect for binding the wooden supports in place. With her arms full of supplies and her heart racing with excitement, Mary returned to the barn. She took a deep breath, ready to begin the work ahead. Every tool in her hands represented her resourcefulness and unwavering love for her children, fueling her determination to turn the barn into more than just shelter. It would be their safe retreat from winter's wrath. With her tools in hand, Mary knelt down at the chosen spot beneath the barn and began to dig. The ground was hard and dry, but with each thrust of the shovel, she could feel the earth giving way. "This will keep us safe," she whispered to herself, her heart swelling with purpose. As she dug, her children's curiosity piqued. Thomas and Lily peeked over her shoulder, their eyes wide with excitement. "Can we help, Mama?" Thomas asked, bouncing on his feet. Mary smiled at their eagerness. "Of course. You can help me by bringing me the dirt in this bucket," she said, pointing to a small container nearby. While Mary dug, Thomas filled the bucket and hoisted it above his head, his tiny arms straining under the weight. "Look, I'm as strong as a bear," he declared with a proud grin. Lily giggled, clapping her hands. "And I'm your helper," she exclaimed as she shuffled over to take the bucket from him. As they worked together, laughter echoed off the barn walls. Rose, their youngest sister, joined in, squeaking with delight as she tried to emulate her siblings, scooping up small bits of dirt with a tiny shovel of her own. Though she wasn't quite able to help, her cheerful attempts brought smiles to Mary's face. Mary's heart warmed as she watched her children bond over this task. With each scoop of dirt removed, they not only made progress on their shelter but also created memories together. "You're doing such a great job," Mary encouraged them as she expertly shaped the walls of the hole. The unity and joy in their laughter filled the barn, and for a brief moment, the worries of the impending storm faded away. After digging out the shelter, Mary knew it was time to build the walls to keep her children safe. She carefully laid the wooden planks she had gathered around the edges of the hole. "Okay, everyone, watch closely," she called to her children, who were bubbling with anticipation. "First, we need to place these big pieces of wood standing up," she explained, showing them how the planks would act like strong arms holding up a roof. Thomas and Lily nodded eagerly as they helped Mary lift one of the sturdy beams into position. Just like building a fort," Thomas exclaimed, his eyes bright with excitement. Mary placed the first beam at one end of the shelter and then another at the opposite end. "Now we need some smaller pieces to connect them," she said, smiling at her kids. She showed them how to lay shorter planks across the top, forming a solid barrier. "This is going to help hold everything together," she added, securing each piece with twine. As they worked, Lily asked, "Will it keep out all the bad weather?" Mary nodded confidently. "Yes. Once we finish this part, we'll make it cozy inside." She demonstrated how they could slide a plank into place while making sure it fit snugly against its neighbors. With every beam they added, Mary could feel their shelter growing stronger. Feeling proud of what they were creating together, Mary encouraged her little helpers. "You're doing great. Soon, we'll have a special room just for us when the storm comes." The children giggled with delight as they continued to build their fortress of safety beneath the barn, each beam representing hope and protection against winter's fury. As they continued working on the shelter, Mary's children buzzed with energy, bringing her little items to help the process along. "Mama, look what I found!" Lily exclaimed, holding up a small piece of rope. "We can use this to tie the planks together." "Great find, sweet pea," Mary said with a warm smile. She took the rope and quickly showed Lily how to loop it around two beams, making the structure even stronger. "You're becoming quite the builder." Meanwhile, Thomas was determined to be as helpful as possible. As Mary secured another plank, he trotted over with a tiny bucket full of nails he'd collected from the barn floor. "I thought these might come in handy," he said proudly, glancing between his mother and the nails. "Perfect, buddy. Let's use them right now," Mary replied, her heart swelling with pride as she watched him eagerly help her hammer in each nail. His focused determination reminded her so much of his father when he was younger. Little Rose stayed close to them, waving her small shovel like a knight with a sword. "I can help too," she chirped, pretending to dig at the edge of their workspace. Her innocent enthusiasm brought laughter and lightness to their hard work. "Of course you can, Rose. You can keep watch for any sneaky storms," Mary said, playfully patting Rose's head. The little girl stood tall and shouted, "Storms beware! I'm on guard." The family pressed on together, Mary feeling encouraged by their playful spirit. Every moment spent with her children reinforced her determination to create not just a shelter but a space filled with love and laughter, a special place they could cherish together during the harsh winter ahead. As the last wooden beam was secured, Mary took a moment to step back and admire their hard work. The underground shelter was sturdy and ready, but it needed to feel like home. She wanted to make it an inviting space for her children, a place where they could feel safe and comforted during the storm. First, she rummaged through the barn to find old blankets that had been tucked away. "These will keep us warm," she said softly, as she draped them over the cold dirt floor. The colorful patterns brightened the otherwise dim space, transforming it into a cozy nook. With each blanket she spread out, her heart swelled with hope. Next, she dug out some of their favorite toys from her small trunk in the corner of the barn. Thomas's wooden train set, Lily's cherished doll, and even a stuffed bear for little Rose found their way into the shelter. "Look what I brought!" Mary exclaimed as she placed each item carefully around the space. "This will be our special room." As she arranged everything, Mary encouraged her children to join her. "Help me put these where we can all see them," she said with a smile, watching them giggle as they placed toys in different corners. Their laughter echoed off the walls, filling the shelter with warmth. Finally, she lit a small lantern that flickered gently in the underground room. "Now it feels just right," Mary said as she hugged her children close. With blankets and beloved toys surrounding them, they created not just a shelter but a little sanctuary filled with love and joy, a place where they could face any storm together. As evening fell, the first whispers of the blizzard began to swirl outside the barn. Dark clouds rolled in like an angry wave, bringing a biting chill that sent shudders through the thin walls above. Mary and her children snuggled deeper into their cozy shelter, the sound of ferocious winds echoing above them, rattling the barn with each gust. "Listen to the wind, Mama!" Thomas shouted, his eyes wide with a mix of excitement and fear. "It sounds like a wild animal." Mary wrapped her arms around him and smiled softly. "It does, but we are safe here," she reassured him, looking around at the warm sanctuary they had built. The lantern they had lit cast a gentle glow on their favorite toys and colorful blankets, creating a stark contrast to the chaos outside. Snow began to drift heavily, covering the world in a thick white blanket. Flakes clung to the barn's sodden wood, and the howling wind whipped around like it was trying to break through. Yet inside their sturdy refuge, warmth enveloped them like a comforting hug. The children giggled as they played with their toys, laughter mixing with the distant sound of icicles forming and crashing down from the barn roof. "Let's play pretend," Lily suggested brightly, her spirits unshaken by the storm's fury. "We're explorers in a snowy land." Mary smiled as her heart swelled with pride and love. Here in their secret shelter beneath the barn, they were not just safe, they were together, facing whatever adventure lay ahead. The blizzard outside might be fierce, but inside was a world of imagination filled with hope, the little castle where love kept them warm through the harshest of storms. As the storm howled outside, the children huddled close to Mary in their snug underground shelter. The wind roared like a great beast, rattling the barn above them. Thomas, trying to sound brave, whispered, "Do you think the wind will blow the barn away, Mama?" Mary hugged him tightly, feeling his small body tremble slightly. "Not at all, sweetheart. Our barn is strong, just like us," she replied reassuringly. "We're safe down here together." Lily, ever the imaginative one, chimed in, "It sounds like a giant is stomping around. Maybe he wants to play with us." Her eye sparkled with both excitement and a hint of fear. "Oh, I hope he brings cookies." Rose squeaked, her tiny voice breaking into a giggle. The sound lifted the weight of worry from Mary's heart as she watched her little ones. "Let's pretend we are explorers on a grand adventure," Thomas suggested, puffing out his chest. "We can find treasure in the snowy land," he declared dramatically. "Yes. And we need to find a magical creature to help us," Lily added enthusiastically, her imagination taking flight once more. With bright smiles and animated gestures, they began creating their story together. The fierce storm outside faded into the background as they crafted tales of brave explorers facing challenges and finding hidden treasures beneath the blankets. Through the stormy night, their laughter and chatter filled the shelter with warmth and joy. Despite the fearsome blizzard raging outside, within their cozy sanctuary, they found courage in each other and turned a scary situation into a delightful adventure of imagination and love. As the storm raged outside, Mary felt a wave of responsibility wash over her. She knew her children needed more than just shelter, they needed reassurance and strength to face the raging elements together. Settling deeper into their cozy refuge, she gathered them close and said, "You know, when I was a little girl like you, I had to face storms too." "Really?" Thomas asked, his eyes widening with curiosity. "Absolutely," Mary replied. "There was one winter that a blizzard came in so fierce, it felt like the sky was trying to swallow up the whole world. But my family huddled together just like we are now." Lily leaned closer, captivated. "What did you do?" "We told stories," Mary continued, her voice softening. "We shared tales of brave explorers who ventured into the wild and found treasures. We imagined ourselves as heroes, facing challenges and helping each other through." Rose snuggled into Mary's side and murmured, "Did you find treasure too?" Mary smiled warmly. "Oh yes. The real treasure was the love and courage we shared in those moments. It brought us all closer together." Encouraged by their mother's words, Thomas jumped in, "Then we should tell our own adventure stories. We can be brave explorers." "Yes," Lily added excitedly. "With magic creatures and hidden wonders." Their imaginations ignited once more. Mary watched as their fears faded away into laughter and excitement. In that moment of storytelling, they not only found safety from the storm but also built emotional strength through shared courage and love, a true treasure that would last long after the blizzard passed. As the blizzard finally began to wane, Mary and her children felt a calming stillness settle over them. the howling winds had transformed into a gentle whisper, and the once fierce storm gradually faded into the distance. "Is it over, Mama?" Thomas asked, peering up at her with bright eyes filled with hope. "Yes, sweetheart," Mary replied, her heart lifting. "I think we can safely step out now." Together, they emerged from their snug underground shelter, the door creaking as Mary pushed it open. A breathtaking sight greeted them. The world had turned into a sparkling wonderland. Snow blanketed everything in a thick, soft layer, glistening under the early morning light as if the earth was wearing a beautiful white dress. "Wow!" Lily exclaimed, her voice filled with awe. "It looks like magic." With every step they took outside, their feet crunched in the freshly fallen snow. Rose bent down to scoop up a handful of snow, giggling as it slipped through her tiny fingers. "Can we build a snowman?" she squealed, her laughter infectious. Mary smiled warmly at her children, witnessing their delight and resilience in the face of adversity. "Of course! Let's create the biggest snowman this farm has ever seen." They worked together joyfully, molding snow and crafting cheerful snowballs while still high on the bond they had forged during the stormy night. As they played in their transformed world, Mary felt pride swell within her. They came through the blizzard not just unharmed but stronger and closer than ever, a testament to their love and spirit against nature's fury. The blizzard had passed, but their warmth and happiness flourished in every flake of snow that surrounded them. As the family finished building their snowman, laughter filled the air, echoing through the winter wonderland. Mary couldn't help but admire how her children had grown stronger during the storm. They had not only faced fear together but had also found joy in each other's company, turning a challenging experience into something beautiful. "Look at our snowman. He's just perfect," Lily exclaimed, her cheeks rosy and bright with excitement. Thomas nodded enthusiastically, brushing off some snow to shape a carrot nose they had found in the barn. Rose giggled, dancing around them with delight. Mary watched her children play, and a wave of warmth washed over her. The bond they shared had deepened through the challenges they faced together, their resilience shone like the sun breaking through the clouds after a storm. She felt grateful for this moment. Their laughter was a melody of hope against the backdrop of nature's fury. "Let's name him Frosty," suggested Thomas, grinning widely. "Yes. Frosty needs a hat," Rose insisted, looking around as if waiting for an idea to appear. "Let's go back inside and get my old scarf," Mary offered. "He must stay warm too." As they headed back to their underground shelter, Mary reflected on how love had protected them amidst the storm. Their cozy refuge not only kept them safe from the cold but also nurtured their spirits and strengthened their bond as a family. In that moment of unity and joy, Mary knew that no matter what life threw their way, they could face it together with courage and love, an unbreakable treasure that would last forever.